Yo guys, what is up? Max on our first Descendant video, and today we're going to be talking about the Kingsguard Lance and a bit of Sharen. It's going to be a bit of a Kingsguard Lance build video, but also an updated Sharen build video because I haven't updated a Sharen guide in a very long time. But basically, if you did not know, in the most recent patch notes, they buffed the Kingsguard Lance by just shy of 3 times its damage for its turrets. Its turrets were pretty good before. They were like fun for mobbing, and they've always been good on Sharen due to some snapshot tech that she can do. But with them getting buffed 3 times the amount of damage, they're now a actual endgame viable build to run Void Erosion Purge on both Sharen and also Serena, which we'll talk about as well, because this thing's pretty nuts on Serena, but then again, what isn't nuts on Serena? But I hope you guys enjoy the breakdown. Let's get right into it. So if you didn't know, the Kingsguard Lance's unique ability, Guardian, allows you to place a turret down when you aim down sights. This turret went from dealing 14% of the gun's firearm damage to 40%, and its damage interval is the same as the equipped weapon, meaning that anytime that you increase fire rate of the gun, you're increasing the fire rate of the turret. So fire rate is incredibly important. And when we put something down here, we get a turret. We can have up to 3 turrets at a time. You place them down. They do a ton of damage very, very quickly, and you can shoot them to increase their duration, but also their range. The name of the game with this weapon, I'm going to turn down the volume a little bit, is overlapping on enemies to deal the most damage. Now, take a look at the amount of crits that are popping up on screen right now. The big kicker and the reason why this gun is so cool on Sharen is because it snapshots her ambush. Now, ambush is a Sharen mod that allows her to do a few cool things, but one of the biggest is that her ambush, whenever you shoot a gun or trigger an ability, that ability gets 100% increased outgoing damage and gets 22% firearm critical hit rate increase as an additive. And the turrets snapshot this bonus. So when you put down a turret, that turret for its entire lifespan is getting 100% increased damage and 22% added firearm critical hit rate, which is very, very nice with Sharen. And with the ambush mod, whenever you crit, you have a chance to basically refund or return into your invisibility. And with this thing's fire rate, constantly firing all the time without you having to do anything, you get to be permanently invisible. So if we put this down, you'll see I put it down and I basically immediately get put back into invisible, and now we're critting way more often. And then we can put a few of these down, and each of these is going to snapshot the damage increase of her invisibility and also the crit. So we're proccing crits way more often. And our current Kingsguard Lance is set up for cold. So as long as an enemy is in its circle, it literally will not be able to move. This perma stuns enemies. That's why we're able to go into a low life build on her, which we'll talk about in a second. For the mods on Sharen, we're going to be using Focus on Fusion and Focus on Electric. You can rank these up if you want. We're not doing ability damage, so they're not super important to rank up. We just want them for the cooldown that they give. Then we've got Battle of Stamina for some extra duration and some HP. Nimble Fingers and MP conversion for even more cooldown. Even though we kind of have permanent invisibility, if we're running from one room to another, we want to make sure that this is able to always be up. So cooldown's great. Some more skill extension for more uptime. And then we're going to be going Shot Focus, which gives us more firearm attack, and Walk a Tightrope, which when we're low health, gives us even more damage. The issue with that is because we're going to be invisible and all of the enemies are going to be frozen, it's really hard to take damage. So we rock Conditional Recharge, which whenever we use a skill, we lower our HP. This way you can spam your 1, lower your HP down, and then you get an additional 30% firearm damage, which is very nice. And then we're rocking Maximize Conservation so that we get more skill cost, that way we can use our abilities and spam them as much as we want. Kingsguard Lance build, we're going to be rocking Rifle Reinforcement, Action and Reaction for the more firearm attack. That's what our turrets scale off of. We've got better insight and better concentration for more crit. Fire rate is super important. The turrets scale with fire rate. We've got Chill Enhancement and Chill Priority for more cryo damage. And then we're going concentration priority for more firearm crit and edge shot so that we proc our crits more often. And lastly, sweeping squad. There's a bunch of interesting mods here that like don't work that like you'd think would work. I tried super cooled plasma. This wasn't working. I tried frigid burn. That wasn't working. We also tried snowflake conductor. This doesn't seem to be working. However, what does seem to work is sweeping squad. Whenever you defeat an enemy, your firearm attack goes up. This goes up to 30% more firearm attack. This does not work for turrets that are already applied. So like, let's say you place 3 turrets down. Those turrets kill up 3 enemies. Then the next turrets you place will get sweeping squad. It won't actively apply to turrets that are already placed. So if you're constantly placing new turrets, this will apply to them, which is very nice. And then for the like actual rolls on this, you want fire rate, firearm attack, chill attack, and then bonus damage to darkness for void erosion. And then we rolled with firearm attack, firearm crit rate, firearm attack versus Legion of Darkness, and more chill damage. The next build dimension for Sharen is her like knives out area suppression build. This got about a 36% increase to its damage in the like most recent buff patch. Basically, this build focuses on getting invisible as much as you can to get the big damage increase and the crit rate boost, and then hitting your knives, and then your knives when they hit will reset cooldown. You can get when these hit an enemy, you get on crit cooldown decreases 1 second, so you can get this basically up 100% of the time and also reduce the cooldown of your camouflage. So you're just kind of spamming camouflage and the knives and just hitting everything on your screen. It doesn't have the biggest range, like it's not going to be clearing in an area that like Bunny or Inez or Freyna can clear in, but it hits really, really hard and it shotguns elites. So if you get really up close to an elite, you can basically one-tap them for multiple millions of damage, which is really, really nice. For the build, we're focusing on a lot of crit because we're going to have a 100% crit rate. You want to be holding the Blue Beetle with this build to get even more crit. We can also rock Dangerous Ambush for even more damage, and we throw on like a maximized conservation so that we can cast our abilities as much as possible. It's a very skill spammy build. Showing on screen is the components that I rock for gun-based Sharen and the Reactor, and now also showing on screen should be the Reactor that I use for like skill-based Sharen and those external components. Showing on screen is the Arche tuning that we use for gun Sharen, and also the Arche tuning that we use for skill-based Sharen. This is the Inversion Reinforcement that I rock for the Kingsguard Lance. The big thing is if you're like using a multi-hit weapon for this specifically, you could change to like strike point amplification. Kingsguard Lance, in my testing, doesn't really benefit, even though the like base weapon can multi-hit. The turrets seem to like not have benefited from it, so we're not using any like multi-hit with it. So we just go for extra ammo. This is really nice just because you get the reload time and you constantly need to reload this because you're going to be placing down those turrets, and those turrets cost a lot to place. Guys, that's going to do it for the video. I hope you enjoyed. Let me know what guns or Descendants you'd like to see updated next, and I will catch y'all in the next one, guys. Take care. Peace.